Let's start with a crazy question. What actually happens when your static lines of code start physically reacting to a live beat? Like, what happens when they step completely out of a flat 2D screen and literally jump into a breathing three-dimensional space? Well, welcome to this explainer, because today we're going to figure exactly that out. Okay, let's dive right into this. We are taking a close look at the massive update in VKO1, specifically version 1.22. We're going to show you exactly how to create your own custom 3D shaders, and more importantly, how to use Apple Metal for some insane immediate live visual responses. Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, the step into true 3D. Then, the magic behind Metal shaders. Third, vertex and fragment in harmony. After that, creating audio-reactive visuals. And finally, maximizing your live setup. Basically, it's your complete cookbook for instant visual gratification. So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the step into true 3D, entering a live 3D stage. Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is just how tactile this new space is. Look, before this update, VKO1 rendered everything through a flat, full-screen quad. But now you get a shared live 3D stage. It's got parametric meshes, a real depth buffer, and, get this, a shared camera you can literally orbit with your finger by just dragging it across the screen while the music plays. It is wild. And the best part? You absolutely do not have to build this geometry from scratch. You start out with 5 core primitives: a sphere, a cube, a plane, a torus knot, and an isosphere. The really brilliant thing here is that you can swap these meshes instantly, right there in the inspector, without touching a single line of code. All right, moving right along to Section 2, the magic behind Metal shaders, where you code directly on device. This is where VK1's frictionless sandbox completely shines. The iteration loop is just so incredibly fast. You literally just add a new 3D shader from scratch, pick your mesh, edit the code, and boom, you're immediately orbiting it with your finger. No Xcode, no complicated developer setup. Creating these breathtaking 3D environments is totally accessible and immediate. Now, a super crucial point here is safety. The documentation literally spells it out. No CPU access. This is a sandbox. Runtime compilation is safe by design. This means you can code fearlessly. You don't even need an Apple developer account. It compiles at runtime using the Metal API right inside the app sandbox. It is crash-proof and 100% ready for your live gigs. Let's slow down the pace just a tiny bit for Section 3, vertex and fragment in harmony. 2 paths, 1 library. So if you're new to true 3D custom shaders, you're now dealing with a pair, a user-supplied vertex and fragment. Think of the vertex shader on the left as your sculptor. It transforms mesh vertices into clip space and handles the beat-reactive displacement. It literally shapes the mesh to the beat. Then, on the right side, you have the fragment shader. That's your painter. It handles the lighting, the iridescent Fresnel, and applying your live color palettes. But hey, you really got to be careful with your sculptor. The absolute #1 rookie mistake in the vertex shader is forgetting the mandatory MVP matrix multiply. If you forget to multiply your projection and view matrices with the world position, every single vertex collapses into the exact same clip space point, and you are left with just a completely black screen or tangled mess. So definitely don't forget that. Over on the fragment side, though, VKO1 hooks you up with some incredible built-in tools. For example, the Get Palette Color 3D function. This little helper injects your custom shaders straight into the app's ecosystem, instantly mapping it to 33 live performance color palettes. It basically guarantees your custom visual code stays perfectly cohesive with the rest of your VJ set. Okay, let's bring that energy right back up for Section 4, creating audio-reactive visuals. This is where we make the code dance. This right here is the secret sauce of your audio-reactive uniforms. Check out how they differ. You've got beat strength, which is an impulse, a sharp spike that is absolutely perfect for vertex displacement or bright flashes right when the kick drum hits. Then you have beat phase, which is a smooth ramp from 0 to 1. Think smooth wipes or perfectly synced fades. And finally, energy. That gives you the bulkier RMS loudness, perfect for controlling overall brightness or camera distance. Picking the right one is absolutely essential to making your visuals actually feel musical. So, here is your golden rule for this section. Always, always gate audio on reactivity. By multiplying your audio terms by this reactivity uniform, you give the user total control. It lets the performer dial the visual response all the way down to 0 with just a single knob. You can freeze the motion completely while still keeping your camera orbit active. It's a total lifesaver. And for some serious instant satisfaction, you've got reactive spin pins. You can wire live audio directly into the mesh's rotation pins, no extra code required. Imagine this, wiring your bass to the x-axis, and LFO to the y-axis, and beat phase to the z-axis. It creates this beautifully complex, tumbling motion that stacks perfectly on top of your manual camera orbit. Let's see how all of this comes together on an actual stage with Section 5, maximizing your live setup through advanced 3D compositing. This workflow just unlocks a massive stage presence. Because these 3D nodes output standard textures, guess what? All your 2D modifiers still work. You can orbit live during a heavy drop. You can hard cut a beat crossfade between two totally different 3D meshes that share the exact same camera. You can throw feedback trails onto rotating geometry for insane volumetric motion, or even stack a 2.5D perspective modifier right on top of your 3D render. To control all of this chaos live, you really need a strategy. On the left side of your setup, you've got the node's camera distance slider. Think of this as your framing dolly. You set this up once so the mesh fits the screen nicely when it's resting. Then on the right, you have your pinch gesture. This is your performance zoom. It stacks right on top, letting you dynamically zoom way in on huge beat drops and pull back out during the breakdowns, all without ever losing your base framing. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. You now know exactly how to pull static code into a tactile, breathing 3D space that reacts to every single beat using Metal. The code is yours, the stage is yours, so the only question left is, how are you going to reshape your next live performance? Thanks so much for joining me today, and go create something amazing.